So thank you so much for joining our session on the law school. My name is Catherine. I'm the International Recruitment Officer within the Faculty of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences. And I'm just going to do a quick overview of our law school today, and then I'll invite our students. So we have 3 students joining us today, Xing Him, Megan and Haider. And we're going to have a panel discussion shortly around their experiences and some information they want to share with us. So I'll get started now. So law at Queen's then. So some unique points about our law school at Queen's. So we have some state-of-the-art facilities on campus, especially within the law school. So facilities include the moot court. So we have a suite available for students to practice mooting, and some of the classes take place there. A recording studio. So the law has a podcast called the Law Pod. And a recording studio is available for that. There's also, the recording is also available so students can practice as well as if they're actually, presenting in front of a court. And there's a well-being room, so the focus on well-being and making sure the students take time out to look after themselves. And there's a student lounge available to some of the programs, particularly the Juris Doctor. And then there's also a cafe within the law school as well. So lots of constant coffee supplies available for our law students. But aside from the facilities, other things that the law school at Queen's are committed to include small group teaching. So although some of the lectures may be quite large, there is often the opportunity for students to break down into smaller groups during tutorials and things like that. We can hear a little bit more about that from our students. An excellent range of elective options. So this refers to both undergraduate and postgraduate teaching, an extensive range of modules to choose from. We have an award-winning student law society and senior status student society. And particularly with our LLB, our undergraduate qualifying law degree, students can use this degree to progress to the next stage of practicing law in Canada, England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland. So we do have access to quite a few jurisdictions there. Of course, students still have to proceed on and qualify through their professional exams, but it does give a lot of opportunities. And then regarding postgraduate study, we do have an extensive range of postgraduate study options. And I'll just give you a quick overview of what our study options are available within the law school. So I mentioned some of these already. So we have our LLB, and we have a Law and Politics LLB as well, and then an LLB Senior Status, which is a graduate entry program. It's a 2-year program. It's really popular with our students in Canada who have already done an undergraduate degree in another area but want to pursue law, and they can do that here within 2 years instead of taking the 3-year program. Then in terms of postgraduate, we've got quite an extensive range of postgraduate programs. So we have the LLM law, and then within the range of the LLM programs, then we have human rights, international business law. We also have a second option of the international business law with placement. Xing Him is here today, and he studies that program, so he can tell us a little bit more about that later. And then we have the LLM Law and Technology, which is a relatively new program, just launched last year, Criminology and Criminal Justice. And then we have a conversion program called the MLaw. So this is a 2-year program. This is for students who have already studied an undergraduate degree, but in another area, and again, want to progress towards law. This can be done within 2 years, again, instead of doing a 3-year program. And then we have the Juris Doctor, which is a professional doctorate. But that is enough from me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to bring the students on campus, or on camera. And we're going to have a little chat then with you guys. So welcome, Xing Him, Megan, Haider. Hope you're all well today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. So Hayder, do you want to start and give us an introduction about yourself and what you study, where you're from, and then we'll take it from there. We'll do a few more questions.
Yes, absolutely. So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the event. My name is Hayder Ibrahim, and I'm a Canadian citizen from Alberta, but I recently moved to BC, and I'm in the Senior Status Program. So, the Senior Status Program is a 2-year LLB program that is very attractive to Canadian students, so much so that most of the students are actually from Canada. And it's really popular because it lets you essentially get the law degree that you would have in Canada that takes you at least 3 or 4 years to do in just 2 years in the CA exams. And it's incredibly popular here because most of the applicants are graduates with prior university degrees who have had some work experience. So it's a undergraduate program that's taught at the postgraduate level. And this means that you have a number of are exclusive to the senior status program. One of them is the employability and clinical skills module, which is an incredibly helpful one that essentially is like shop class for. I'll give you the basics of training for mediation, negotiation, how to do structure billable hours, how to interview clients. So all of those practical skills, how to apply for jobs and how to do interviews, all those things that you don't really get from other law schools just from going to a certain class that teaches you, say, legal skills or constitutional law, that kind of thing. It helps to tie in your actual knowledge together to help prepare you for when you're actually going to be applying and looking for jobs. And they actually train you to sort of be able to understand what you should and shouldn't be doing when you're actually applying and positioning yourself as a new solicitor when you graduate. So the program is really tailored not just to help students learn in the fastest and the most efficient manner, but to help students transition from student life to professional life as quickly and as smoothly as possible. And in conjunction with a number of extracurricular activities from the law school, it is really a terrific program, and I'm enjoying it very much so myself.
Hayder, so I'll just maybe ask you a couple of questions as well. So was there anything that surprised you when you came to Queen's or Belfast in general?
Yes, actually, I was pleasantly surprised with not only how teachers were compared to what I would expect from a law school. I expected the sort of sternness and stuffiness and things. I didn't find that here, especially at a British university. But one thing that did surprise me are always encouraging students, whether it's something that, let's say, you have questions about class or a certain topic, or if you just want to get in touch with your professor and catch up with them, talk about something personal, talk about what you've done over the week, just to sort of personally connect and build that social rapport. They encourage that, and they want to hear from students. I've had numerous calls with a number of professors where we didn't actually talk about anything class related. We just caught up about how what we did that week, how we felt about something in the news, something like that. And it really helps me understand the position of how my profs feel about certain values that they have, that translates into the way that they teach and translates into the way that they reach out to students. Isn't something that I experienced in my undergrad at my last university. So that was very special for me, actually.
Great, thanks for sharing that, Hayder. What has it been like studying during COVID-19? Because obviously you just arrived um, in September and you haven't studied at Queen's during the normal times yet. But how have you found studying online, and have you had a chance to use any of the facilities yet?
Right. You're right. We had our first lockdown on October 17th, and I only got a brief taste of in-person class sessions at Queen's, and it was amazing. You got to go to school in this gorgeous castle, and everybody was sitting down, socially distanced, but at the same time, we still were able to interact to a certain level. And then everything went online. I initially, was worried about how it's been very smooth in terms of communication between students and teachers, and it's very easy to that are available to you that are always pre-recorded, but at the same time, you are encouraged to attend in person because you can contribute, you can ask anything you want. It's a very friendly and open environment in these classes because the professors really want to put your needs first. So in that regard, it's very accommodating for students who are worried about how the quality might differ from being in person versus being online. I mean, I might be guilty about saying this, but I've kind of enjoyed not having to move too much around my nest, especially with all the extracurricular stuff that I just jumped to apply for, because I noticed that for me, the benefit worked out in the sense where I wasn't running between one and a million places all the time, trying to get from place A to B to C to D. And it's not that I'm not looking forward to being in person again, but I was so busy that for somebody who is physically lazy like myself, I was kind of thankful that I was actually able to take advantage of the fact that everything was made available to me between Microsoft Teams, between Zoom. I didn't have to download a million apps or anything like that, nor was the learning process, difficult in order to understand how to actually be able to keep up with any of that. So I'm quite thankful that they were thinking of the students in terms of how they delivered that.
Hader, thank you. I think we'll move on to Megan next. Megan, would you like to give us a short introduction, where you're from, what you're studying?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Megan. I'm from Malaysia. I'm currently 17, doing the undergraduate law program. I'm currently a year 1 LLB law student, and I feel like the law school has a really good provides a really good environment for students to pursue a great balance between extracurricular activities they can try out, as well as very um, streamlined but at the same time professional course. So for example, we have a range of different courses that we take in year 1. We get to explore different things and have tasters of different areas of law, but at the same time it is relevant to what we are doing and what we're pursuing in the future. So it's in context, but at the same time we're also allowed this amount of time for us to join extracurricular activities like mooting and ADR, which is the alternative dispute resolution, which I had the privilege and pleasure to join. And I met a lot of nice friends there. And with COVID and the limited interactions that we have that we got exposure to, I felt like the entire process of making friends and interacting with people have been made easier with just joining more extracurricular activities. And one thing that I really like about the university, have a good amount of it's very mixed. So we have lectures and tutorials. So lectures, they give you a guide of what to do, so reading lists, what exactly is covered during your exam and stuff like that. It gives you really big coverage. But during tutorials you have a very good amount of time to discuss issues and what you don't understand, and really detailed topics with your tutors. And the tutors are really attentive, and they know exactly when you need help, and I feel like that's really helpful. And one thing that I really like about my tutors are that they're very hardworking. They don't mind marking extra work. They would tell us things like, I know it's Easter break, but if you want any tuitions, or if you want any not tuitions, I'm sorry, if you want any sessions, or any if you want me to mark your past papers, then sure, go ahead. I'm here all the time. And it just gives us a really nice sense of security to know that we are in good hands, and that basically the teachers are there whenever we need them. We also have a personal tutor, which goes through our coursework's feedback with us, I think after the submission deadline, after we gotten our feedback. And then we also have just a lot of really good facilities that really help us and supplement our process studying at the university. Yeah, so that's basically my introduction, and I would like to take any questions if you have any.
Yes, I would love to ask you.
Okay.
What can you tell us why you decided to come to Queen's? Because I know you came through Into first, and if
Yeah.
you can tell us a little bit more about your journey to actually deciding to choose Queen's.
Sure. So prior to coming to Queen's, I had a really big search, and I basically went to different campuses to tour, to have a tour and stuff like that. But I felt one thing that really attracted me was that obviously, first of all, the student ambassador that took me around was really responsible, and he really told me everything that I was supposed to know. And the campus itself was really attractive. It's one of it's I think it's top 10 most beautiful universities in the UK. So again, like what Hader says, it's a really big castle. It's really pretty. But apart from that, it's also the facilities that we have. So we have an award-winning library, the Macleay Library, that has a lot of that has a huge collection of books that we can borrow. And it also has it is also a Russell Group university and it has high rankings. So I think it's 17th in the UK for law. And it is, the qualification here is also recognized in Malaysia, which means that I'd be able to graduate from qualification in my home country and work there. At the same time, it's also this qualification is also recognized in areas like Dublin, I think the UK, England and Wales and Northern Ireland. So you do have a lot of areas that you can work in the future, I feel. And yeah, I think that is mainly the reason that attracted me to Queen's. But the reason why I enjoyed it the most is because, first of all, there's an amazing amount of support. So like the personal tutor that I was talking about, the under 18 well-being services that I had the privilege to enjoy, basically they called me every once in a while to make sure that I was doing well and to make sure that, you know, mentally I was not being too affected by the pandemic and being locked in this really, I think, in my opinion, it's quite comfortable, but to some it might be something that is a little too confined for them. And then it's also the careers and employability services. I felt that has given me a lot of support. So they basically checked my CVs and really allowed me to understand the opportunities available out there. So yeah.
Thank
you.
So was there anything that surprised you coming to Belfast or coming to Queen's that you weren't expecting, or something that was different than you thought?
Yeah, so the overwhelming amount of support was something that I talked about. So, and apart from that, there's also a lot of things that are available here. So there's the mooting and ADR, which I thought was really beneficial in helping me to understand what exactly I'm getting into and what exactly would be involved. What my future career might entail. And at the same time, it's also about the amount of, I mean, although they're all student-led, they're done in a very professional way. So that again gives you this idea that, you know, it's not too tense, not too pressuring, but at the same time, you get what you need. I guess that was really surprising for me. I was pleasantly surprised with that. Yeah.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah.
I think we'll move on to Xing Him just in case we start to run out of time. Just a reminder to the attendees, we will be available in the expo booth after. So there's an expo button down the side of your screen as well, and we'll be in the law one straight after this. So if there's anything else you would like to ask us, then that's a good time. But yes, Xing Him, sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead and give us your introduction.
It's okay. Hi everyone. I'm Xing Him. And I'm originally from Hong Kong. I've been in Belfast for 4 years, and initially I did an LLB, and then graduated with a first class honor, and then went on doing an LLM International Business Law with placement. I came straight to Queen's as soon as I finished my diploma of secondary education in Hong Kong, and I just truly loved it. I chose Queen's because of its high reputation. In 2017, the year that I applied to Queen's, I think the Queen's Law School was a top 9 law school in the UK, and also Queen's is just very beautiful, and the city is very affordable. And I've met some current students studying in Belfast, and they truly love what they are doing in Belfast, and I can feel the passion from them. And that's why I came to Queen's, and I stayed on and doing a master, and it really shows that I love Queen's.
So tell us a little bit more about why you decided to choose the Master in International Business Law after finishing your LLB.
Yes, by the time I finished my LLB, I felt that I still wasn't done with the academic world. I still love doing academic research, and just looking at the master options across different Russell Group universities, and Queen's is actually the only Russell Group university that offers an LLM International Business Law with a placement year. So that's really special because I can have an additional year doing a placement, gaining real work experience from the industry, and then incorporate that into my academic research. That is my dissertation. And that is really special. There's no other Russell Group university in the UK that offers a program of a similar nature. And that's why I chose my program at Queen's. And the other reason that is really attractive, that made me stay in Queen's, is because of the a scholarship that I secured with the international office. There are a number of international scholarships that Queen's offers to different students, depending on your nationality or a different other eligibility. And I'm really grateful to have secured some scholarships to fund my studies at Queen's. And yeah.
That's great, Xinghim. Thanks for sharing that. So you have been lucky to have studied at Queen's in normal times before the pandemic hit, and then you've changed. Obviously, things have changed this year. So what was it like changing from studying on campus all the time to some online study? How has your experience been?
Oh, of course, the initial experience will, I would describe it as weird, because I'm used to studying in the beautiful campus, looking at the old castle, the Atlantean building, whenever I'm having my lectures. And I'm sure, like Ziming, like Megan, you should have experienced that last year when you were into. And yeah, I just miss like studying in campus and interacting people with like lecturers, like my classmate in person. But as soon as we switched to an online class, I just felt it's the same. Like we do the classes in the same, and I think that the level of interaction is even higher in a virtual environment, because everybody, they're just really because sometimes when you're in a classroom, people just feel nervous speaking in front of a group of people, but whereas in a virtual environment, the nerves just sort of like doesn't exist, and people are really willing to contribute their thoughts into the discussion, which is really helpful. And I think the School of Law has done very well in switching everything to virtual formats, and the support that they get given and the peer support that we have in the LLM group is also really good.
Great. So we don't have that much time left, so I'm just going to quickly go around each of you and ask you what you're hoping to do in the future. What are your career goals? You can start, Xinghim, since you're on camera already.
Well, my career ambition is to qualify as a commercial solicitor in an international law firm in London, and having looked for jobs in London and then Hong Kong, where I'm from, looking for jobs for about 4 years, and I'm very grateful that I have recently secured 4 vacation placements at 4 different really good international law firms, 2 in Hong Kong and 2 in London. And they are really competitive to get, and they are really a key step to securing a full-time graduate program that is a training contract. And and I think that the Queen's Career Service really helped me in like tailoring my application forms, making sure that I tease out the bits and pieces that in my past experience in my application form and interview to best sell myself in the assessment process, and that's how I got my jobs from the international law firms.
Him very ambitious career goals, but I know that you'll get there someday. You'll definitely make a great solicitor. Haider, what about you? Could you tell us what your plans are for the future?
Yes, of course. I just love Belfast so much that I'm primarily looking to find a position as a solicitor in Belfast, similar to Xinghim, through either a vacation placement scheme at the end of my first year here, which will help me secure a graduate training program in my second year, or directly to seek for a graduate training program in my second year. Just like Xinghim said, the help that I've received from the Career Counseling Center here at Queen's has been really invaluable. They'll really take your resume and they'll pick apart exactly what it is that you should change or alter, and they'll tell you exactly how to make your skills, stand out in terms of illustrating their transferable qualities to what the solicitor firm is looking for, and to actually find out exactly how to stand apart from other applicants is something that frankly gets every single year as more and more students are applying for less and less positions, especially when we're talking about the worldwide reduction in positions due to COVID. And this is why I'm especially thankful that Queen's gears its students towards being able to sort of compete with those very ambitious students for those positions. And the way that you're actually placed forward in order to be able to do that helps you do it with confidence, considering that at times when you think about how many other people are competing against you, but individual and the firm, you feel ready to actually apply, you feel ready to actually do the interview process. And I've had a number of current applications go through to stage 2, which the application stages themselves take a while. So it's definitely something that you're here for, and that preparation is really, really invaluable.
Heider. Megan, you're only 17, so have you thought about your future career, or are you just going to take your course year by year and see how you go?
Because I've always been very inspired by different people who graduated from Queen's. A lot of them are doing so well, either as a barrister or solicitor, or even as in-house counsels. But primarily, I think my main objective is to go down the corporate route. And I have submitted my application for a few virtual internship programs that happen in Malaysia, in law firms in Malaysia. And I have gotten 3 replies, so I'm moving on to the interview stages now. I'm quite nervous, not going to lie, but with the help from the Careers and Employability Services, I think I'd be able to pass them. And then I would also plan to go under vacation schemes in my second year, because a lot of law firms don't necessarily accept applications for vacation schemes during your first year. As far as of now, as of now, all the law firms that I've applied to don't really have that type of plan. So that is my career plan. Yeah.
Brilliant. Folks, thank you so much. So thank you to the attendees who joined to listen. I'm sure you find our 3 amazing students as inspirational as I do. And I know that you guys will all go on to be really successful in the future. And I hope that you've inspired our attendees today to share your experiences with the students that they talk to, and try to encourage them to consider Queen's as well. If you have any questions for our 3 students, we are going straight to our booth at 10 o'clock. So you'll find us in the Expo section under AHSS, and the first little box is the law booth, and we'll be there until 10:30. But thank you so much for joining, and thanks again to our 3 students. You guys are great.